For some reason, I'm not able to see the live screen, Rena. Can you share it on my direct page, Sandhya Pillai, if you are able to do that?
I am not able to see right away
Yeah, in
now.
fact, I am here.
You saw?
Yes.
Okay. Because I am on your page only,
Yes.
but I
I'm
can't see.
sharing it on the main page. So while I'm doing that, Rena, thank you so much for joining in on a Saturday evening. Saturday evenings are typically for a family time, and so Gaya was zamana jo Saturday evenings used to be party time for us. So this is basically weekend, right? That's the
Yeah.
kind of weekends that we should have. So tell me, what do you expect out of the show? And you've seen two shows, I'm sure. And what is your feeling of the show? And I really, really thank you for coming in such a short notice, and also the fact that you have such a busy schedule and you can actually take out time for some conversations with friends.
So thank you very much, first of all, Sandhya, and the entire team for Sandhya's coaching communication academy, I could say. I think when you called me and invited me as a speaker, very honestly, I've not seen any of your speakers or your session. All I thought is a good friend is calling in
Yeah.
and she wants to have some casual conversations. And I'm sure you're a value contributor, and that's all about it. I don't look at anybody else. I don't look at whatever you've been doing, but I know that you yourself always believe in value, and I would love to be around when you're there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. So we are live right now on Sandhya Speaker and Coach. So people who are not able to see me on the main page can see me here live with Raina Khatri Tandon. And we are starting the conversations too soon. It's not going to be too long. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, great. So let me actually jump into the show and ask you, Rena. So, how has your journey been? I see you are a breakthrough coach, you're a mindset coach, and you're also part of the human rights activism, and you're also a part of WEF. I have been part of WEF at one point of time in Delhi. So, how do you juggle between so many roles and of course, I'll ask you what you're passionate about, but right now for this question.
So I'll tell you some interesting thing. Of course, everybody asks me sometimes the same thing, like have mentoring. I used to do a lot of breakthrough coaching, but yet
Uh-huh.
now it's only about when people approach me and say, "Yes, ma'am, we just want you to do." Even though I tell them, "Please, there are other coaches. I'll guide you to the best one."
Yeah.
And if there's somebody who's very persistently saying, "No, I need you to guide me in my life," and
Uh-huh.
I know that you are the person who can guide me, whether it's some area of his life, personal or
Yeah.
professional, then I take it up. So,
Yeah.
cutting it short, whether it's mentoring, whether it's coaching, whether it is helping people on Right to Rise with regard to POSH, POXO, and human
Uh-huh.
rights,
Uh-huh.
we all understand that it's a myth to create balance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we do create balance, and women are very good at it. So, you and me and every woman is very good at it compared to how
Yeah.
men do it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure the men are also learning the scale of it now and
Correct.
the balance of it. But
Correct.
essentially, if you have to bring in a lot of quality in the kind of work you do,
Yeah.
then I think it's one at a time.
Yeah.
So I ideally keep some time frames of my day to some part of my schedule. For
Yeah.
example, the early wee hours are basically to give your body and mind some kind of food.
Yeah.
So you can, I don't know how everybody else does it, but I spend my time either writing down my entire to-do list, or spending with my daily goals, or ideally spending some time on my exercise, or meditating, or listening to some zen music. It could be anything that comes in that mind, that how do I feel and how do I want to go about it. It could be even mindful breathing or mindful meditation for a few minutes, or
Yeah.
even watching around my windowsill with a cup of coffee. So it's never the same day, it's never the same moment.
Yeah.
So after that, of course, the day flows, because you have to manage your personal, your professional,
Yeah.
your meals, your clients, your team, and there's so much more. I mean,
Correct.
ideally, everybody has their own ways of running it,
Mhm.
and there's no point telling I do this and this is what you should follow. because
Exactly.
everybody has different goals.
Correct.
So the schedules will also follow like that.
Yeah.
But there's no fixed one kind of shoe size, or there's no one kind of fit made for all.
Correct.
So yeah, planning, prioritizing, and trying and balancing whatever you meant to do for the day, that's
Uh-huh.
good enough.
Okay. Brilliant. That's brilliant. I think you rightly said work-life balance is a myth, and I keep saying that in most of the leadership trainings that I conduct, that don't try to achieve that complete balance, because there it is a myth. It's not easy. It's not actually possible for us to actually have a perfect balance, especially being women and honing different hats every day, every second. I think different times we are in different situations, right? So you said it absolutely right. So let me ask you more about, how did this journey of moving into human rights start for you? I do know for sure that you did, your education starting with engineering, but how did it transition into this one? I'm sure a lot of people here who are looking for different careers can actually take some insights from here as
So Rena, as a person, has always been very creative.
well. Uh-huh.
Rena, as a person, has always been somebody who can't be um, looking at one aspect of life and not live the other aspect of life.
Yeah.
So I might be quite a serious person doing my job role as a professional,
Uh-huh.
as a entrepreneur of a company.
Yeah.
But Rena has another shades of a personal life, or a fun life, or a friendship life, and that's what each person should be.
Correct.
Essentially transitioning from a creative uh, techie. So I've been a techie. Basically, I've worked into VLSI chip design engineering in my educational cadre, and
Yeah.
I've been from there. I've actually gone hell doing training, coaching, mentoring. And why
Uh-huh.
I probably did that is, of course, I've always been a learner, and even today I'm learning a lot to do with law and
Yeah.
human rights. And why feeling that? See, we all inside us somewhere know that we urge for
Correct.
growth.
Yeah.
We urge, maybe not all the time for money, but for growth, for satisfaction, for the
Yeah.
kind of what is it that makes us beautiful. For
Yeah.
example, Sandhya beautiful, for example, Rena beautiful, or any XYZ,
Yeah.
where people look up to that person for some element of, wow, okay,
Yeah.
this person has actually changed this thing in my life. So
Absolutely.
there is a story even behind me why I probably transitioned from there to where I am today. And whether
Yeah.
it's Posh or POXO or human rights,
Hmm.
again, I look at the element of how I can create the action and eliminate all the pain and the misery and the
Yeah.
fear, or even the mindset of people.
Yeah.
People talk about transformation.
Uh-huh.
Transformation happens in different ways, and
Yeah.
I see the transformation happening through Posh and POXO and human rights. So,
Wow.
I mean, the mindset could be changed in different areas.
Uh-huh.
Like you talk about communication, you're trying to change a person by the way he talks.
Correct.
Somebody else does it by the way he's creative. Third
Correct.
person might do it the way he feels on the conditioning and the belief systems. I
Correct.
feel it's all about, why should a person behave in a certain way
Yeah.
if he has to change his mindset. And that's what we try and believe, that if we want somebody to rise,
Yeah.
then we need to work on him, on
Yeah.
why is he doing certain behaviors.
Yeah.
And that's where Posh and human rights and POXO, whether it's about a child, whether it's about youth, whether it's about adults, or
Yeah.
whether it's about any generation of people, it's about bringing that equality and non-judgmental space, and talking about the various aspects about gender sensitization and inclusiveness.
Great, great. So, interestingly, when you said inclusiveness, like, so you've been in this field for a while. How difficult is it today to? Today, I think it's much more accepted. But was it difficult 5 years ago to talk about inclusiveness and communicate that within an organization? Because today, I understand diversity and inclusion is part of most of the corporates, and in fact, a lot of policies are being worked around that. But 5 years ago, how was it? Like, was it difficult to communicate about how to get, be inclusive in the policies and also have diversity ensured that it's all, kind of amalgamated into the policies?
So let me put this question back to you and make you ponder, Sandhya.
Yeah.
Interestingly, A lot of people ask me this: how do you develop these systems when you go to corporates, or how do you
Correct.
develop this system in difficult people? See, people are people, and they will continue to be the way they were even before and even now. Okay,
Correct.
you will find people even in training world, coaching world, organizational world, educational world, everywhere, even in societies. People are always having similar kind of roles to play everywhere, and
Hmm.
you can't say that, maybe your papa or your dadaji who had a particular mindset that time has changed now.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't have changed. They're still
Yeah.
carrying the same thing. And
Correct.
because of that, we have generation gaps, we have biases, we have perceptions.
Absolutely.
So when people say that, how do you create this inclusiveness? I always tell them inclusiveness has to be brought in, and it can
Uh-huh.
be brought in only when you communicate it. So
Correct.
there will be places, even now, there will be companies, there will be setups where people are not open to doing something
Hmm.
because they have either not been aware of it, or
Yeah.
you have never brought that communication among them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you bring the right perception of right things, and
Uh-huh.
you know that this is how the entire system is evolving, the entire process is changing, the
Uh-huh.
entire world is growing digital, or how do you bring in that equality and that non-judgmental space, like I said. For
Correct.
example, even in digital media, you need to be a little aware of how you speak, what do
Correct.
you speak, how close are you, and a lot of other things
Yeah.
which make people very comfortable or uncomfortable. So if we
Absolutely.
bring all that awareness in them, then they start understanding, okay, so it makes sense. I mean, ideally, if I have to work together with somebody,
Mm.
whether it's male, female, or transgender, or LGBT, or any of the other genders,
Yeah.
then I need to give them some space of growth as much as I deserve that space.
Correct. Correct.
So, yes, many people do different ways of doing that. And
Uh-huh.
essentially, we're all doing that together to create this kind of change, or
Yeah.
this kind of transformation. But um, let's do it in the right way, is what I believe.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there are certain ways we can work towards and devise certain beautiful process and systems for each of these programs, and that's what we believe in Right to Rise. We go quite deep dive into each of, whether we're doing gender sensitization or our certification programs or many of the other awareness sessions. We
Yeah.
see that the act, along with what the government has set,
Mm.
we bring in certain ways this is implemented, and so that people can carry it forward as legendary learning, so
Yeah.
that the methodology and processes and tools are all equipping together so that it
Correct.
can be made easy for them to learn.
Absolutely brilliant. So I think you're also talking about, it's also about self introspection and how one really wants to look at it.
Yeah,
I was also coming from the thought process of two things. So I have worked with transgender community, and I've also interviewed people from
yeah,
that LGBTQ parades. And I also have the second facet of it is being a single mother or a single mom. There were rights that I was not kind of aware of. So also the point that inclusiveness, why I said that is uh, that that still is missing. That portion of the society where they don't accept you as a part of the society. So my point was more about the communication that happens within the society. So for me at least, I think bringing that self-awareness that okay, I need to now communicate instead of waiting for them to make me inclusive of the society. I also realized that with the transgender community, they actually pulled up and they actually raised a voice to make themselves inclusive rather than we waiting for the society to accept. So I guess your point is more or less right, where you're saying everybody handles it differently, but today I think it's more about how you are self-aware and then you actually raise your point and say that okay, I want to be inclusive in that part of society, so you accept.
also I'll give you a little insider into, or peekaboo into, another perception which
Uh-huh.
I had an experience of lately.
Yeah.
I think just before we ended on to a lockdown,
Uh-huh.
uh, sometimes I visit these people over a little NGO, or sometimes while traveling, I've also sensed. So
Uh-huh.
there have been multiple situations where these people, when they are being looked down, or when they are being shunned away by somebody, then
Uh-huh.
the entire truth within them comes out. So
Yeah.
whether they know you or not, they'll just speak up what they feel. Okay, so even while traveling, sometimes driving down in my own vehicle, I
Yeah,
have found many a times the neighboring vehicles have either pushed them away or shunned them away or given them
yeah,
comments, and
yeah.
then they come back and they start talking to you because they want somebody to hear them out. Okay,
Correct.
this is quite unintentional, but it
Yeah,
all happens in such a coincidental way that
correct.
you start thinking that, is inclusiveness only not among them? Don't you really think inclusiveness is also lacking among the educated? Okay, let's understand, in our society there are so many people who don't even understand each other, and they feel if they are maybe not their kinds, or if they are competitors, or if they are what other way we think of people as perceptions of our own mind. It could not be real, but they
Correct.
are perception or biases and dependent on what we have experienced over years.
Correct.
Now,
And as simple as, I'm sorry interrupting, as
yeah,
simple as, I being a South Indian, people would actually expect that I don't speak good Hindi. I still don't speak, I don't think that I speak good Hindi, but I do speak, favorably, I think, well, than most of the other people that speak Hindi. So that I have always felt that the moment I put across my surname, the first thing is, oh, aap acha Hindi bol leti. And I'm like, why are you surprised? That should, it's I'm right here in Delhi, I'm in Bombay, I must be speaking Hindi. So suddenly you're made to feel out of the, out of the league. That's
exactly.
something that we feel, and you're absolutely right. We do sense that most of the times, and I think unfortunately, unconsciously, we may also have the biases. We don't realize it, but we may also have that. And the only fact that I see today is becoming more non-judgmental slowly, and also not being opinionated. And that has happened also because I have walked the journey of a coach myself. So I guess that unconscious biases, if it were there because of whatever social society we were raised in, has gone away today. If I don't think,
Absolutely.
if I look back my school days. In fact, yesterday we were discussing school days with Farida. If I would have actually encountered a gay or a lesbian or that kind of community, I am not sure seriously how my reaction would have been, because I don't know. I really don't know. Today if I say no, 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 I would have been okay. I'm not too sure about that. I am not too sure of how I would have looked women who were independent, though my mother was an independent. But today, the kind of independence and freedom that we see in women, I am not sure if I would have seen my mother in that capacity, in that kind of a role. I am not sure how I would have reacted as a child.
Very
So,
true. Very true. Beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. So, so that I've discussed about childhood. Let me understand. So, how was Raina as a child, and what kind of conversations happened at your home? So, we've been
So
always talking about conversation. I'd love to hear what Raina was like as a child. And
I'm sure you don't want to know that, Rena.
I would love to know that.
because it won't sound like as if it's this Rena, because Rena was quite notorious, and Rena has been very fun and notorious.
Uh-huh.
And of course, why it's funny to tell you, but when I was very tiny, then yes, I used to be going all sorts of ways, and I used to be nice and plump, and whenever I used to be, people were all charged up. Oh, this girl is coming, so she's all going to be laughing all the way and dropping things here and there. So I was quite a mischief monger, I can say, and a lot of energy and power. So
Mhm.
it was fun, and today when I have to ponder back, it's very nice and very beautiful to see that I think that life you can never come back with, and it's such a beautiful life which our parents have given us, because
Correct.
that time there was so much lesser stress, there
Yeah.
was so much I call it togetherness. I call it togetherness of the family, of the people, of the society. Today everything has become a little aloof,
Yeah.
where families have become very secular,
Mm.
and parents don't actually have time sometimes for their children.
Mm.
Sometimes the children don't want to spend time with their parents. Sometimes everybody is so very individualistic. So
Yeah.
again, there is lack of the communication which is coming to,
Yeah.
and the ethics and the morals. So many times I thoughtfully think as a parent, if we have to bring in this values as trust, dignity, equality, it comes down to the root level as what kind of parents are we, what kind of upbringing are we bringing, what kind of value systems, what kind of clarity we have in our voice,
Mm.
what kind of communication are we doing? Are we giving the space for the child to be an individual? Are we allowing him to grow the way he is, rather than becoming judgmental about, oh, he's somebody is supposed to do exactly what I say?
Yeah.
And we are not perfect. I am not perfect, but we
Mhm.
try to be at least a better version of ourselves every day.
Yeah.
All I can say is that the reason for all inequality, injustice, or any of these posh pox or human
Yeah.
rights which we voice out today might
Uh,
become even lesser if we become more resilient, more calm, more non-judgmental, allowing
correct.
the person to be, and avoiding these stressful conversations. So
Yeah.
maybe if we become much more focused on
Hmm.
what is the solution rather than problem when we are dealing with this,
Yeah.
then maybe harassment, bullying, cybercrime, all those things can be avoided. And then
Yeah.
it becomes only trust and bonding, because that's the only thing you can expect at this moment for everything which is dealing in the society today to end.
Yeah. So rightly said, and yeah, so I think in fact we recently had our school reunion, and we were actually discussing. In fact, there was a video that I shoot out for my teachers saying that the kind of safety, secure, protective environment that we were in while we were studying, that's kind of missing now. Of course, I do feel that in Bombay, I never felt that in Delhi for my kid today. Of course, in Bombay, I think I gratitude to the city that I can think of allowing her to freely just move around. That was kind of a fear that I had while I was living in the northern part of it.
Correct.
But I was raised in Bihar and Jharkhand now, of course, and I actually have lived a life where we were absolutely freely cycling here and there, up, right, and down back to from the tuition classes. So I do miss that kind of childhood where it's free flowing and the kind of
I appreciate that one thing, Sandhya. You've been like a person on all over India. So from Jharkhand to Mumbai to Delhi to South. So
yeah.
you've been multilingual, multi person. So sometimes when people ask me how many languages you know, they get shocked because I know quite a lot. But I
Wow.
see another example of me, that you have been traveling so much. But childhood is really beautiful time. I think
Yeah.
everybody should live it. We live our childhood now, I would say. So
Yeah.
ideally when we have some time, then I have to really push my boy and tell him, let's go out and let's have some fun. But
uh,
our childhood was not at all like that. I mean, we were all very free flowing, I guess.
yeah. So how old is your kid?
So my boy is 12 years old now.
Oh, as old as my daughter. So she's 13.
Yes,
So I just turned a teenager. So
true,
what
true.
kind of communication conversations do you have, Rena, at home? Because, the whole, I'll also tell you a slight background of why I started sipping conversations. I've been discussing this with most of my guest speakers. The fact that conversations, like you said, जो बातचीत होती थी, simple बातचीत, without any agenda, without any to-do list, without any set timing, just picking up a call and talking to someone, that kind of बातचीत वो खत्म हो चुका है. Today I think it is turned more into just communication. Okay, तुम बोलो मैं बोलूँ, हाँ ठीक है, बढ़िया है, and that's it. It's done. Of course, I do still have a set of friends who I have candid conversations with, and I love doing that. So the whole idea of this show was to not only know about people who come on my talk show, but also have candid conversations and get that like you rightly said, we may have to create that model for children to get them to understand the value of trust, dignity, and also communication. So I wanted to build up slowly that culture of conversations where it is candid conversation without an agenda, without any judgment, without any opinion, just simple chit chat. Of course, and interestingly, and recently I was doing one of the network meetings. So I teach people on how to communicate in the network, and I said, why don't you start your one-to-ones with people? And there were a lot of people who said, what is a one-to-one? What do you do in a one-to-one? I said, so simple conversation. So what conversation? Do we talk about business? I said, no, you talk about everything. Like you really want to know the person well before you start the business with him or her, right? So that's the whole idea of why I started conversations. So I really am intrigued to know what kind of conversations you have with your child, and how is the rapport, and what has your parenting journey been like?
Okay, so let's understand one thing. I have very funny conversations, and sometimes the conversations go into like, "Are you actually checking on me?" and something like that. So
Yeah.
here there are two things of conversations. So I'm somebody who keeps on maybe nudging and keeps on checking on little things with my
Uh-huh.
child, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes he knows Mama is here because Mama wants something or Mama is really interested in knowing something. So
Exactly.
this boy is always busy with either his friend or sometimes when we have a discussion, then he's just watching me and my husband and why are we talking about this.
Uh,
So we generally don't pick up conversations which are important as it is upfront,
uh,
because today's children are very smart, especially people in
correct.
teens.
Hmm.
If you have to get something done, I think there is no perfect parenting. First of all, I don't know how people say that either if you attend a session or if you do something then it works,
Yeah.
because for me it's all about trying new things every day. Because if
Uh-huh.
your child knows one thing, you can't say the same thing works again tomorrow. At least it won't work for a child who's over than 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, every child is very intelligent today, and their VAX, visual, audio, kinesthetic, and the way they think is way faster than us. I can
Absolutely.
say 22nd century is just grabbing on to us more than we can be faster and telling them what is the right and the wrong. Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
even if I have to go back and tell him, Beta, you have just got up little late, and don't you really think we should be hitting the bathroom first, getting ready, and then having. So he'll be like, are all days the same? I think all days it doesn't sun or rain. I
Yeah.
don't think that all days we need to get up on the same time. And is it okay if I can just have some conversation with my friend and play for some time and then go for bath? And then he comes back and saying, "Don't you guys do this sometimes?" So ideally, it all comes back to us that
Yeah.
if we are so relaxed, then why do we expect certain things, certain processes?
Correct.
Then it's up to us. How do we change that? Because
Yeah.
unless you're not going to do it double or triple number of times,
Hmm.
it's not going to follow it for sure.
Yeah.
And then there are these crazy conversations about so I keep telling a lot of parents, you need to talk about sexual connotations
Yeah.
and about abuse and about harassment and about what are the sexual organs and things like that. And suddenly, while eating or while a conversation, I'll just pick it up, and my husband will be, "Is this important conversation now?" And I
Mhm.
said, "Well, if it is, this is the only time we are bonding, then this is the time we can talk."
Yeah.
So ideally, it starts with me, but then it ends with him. So
Mhm.
I am kind of just an initiator there, and
Mhm.
then the conversation sometimes happens between the boys.
Yeah.
It also sometimes is about different things, because now we don't have mythology,
Yeah.
now we don't have books,
Mhm.
because my son reads a lot of books and newspapers, and
Yeah.
good credit to the school, they've started even telling them to read Economic Times. So
Mhm.
sometimes we have to nudge him, but if he doesn't,
Mhm.
then probably we will start talking about it so that there's some food for thought going there.
Yeah.
And there could be various other conversations. So we've tried inculcating sports or inculcating music. So we
Uh-huh.
might be discussing about, oh, did you practice something about the keys? And then coming to something which we really want. So can we have a walk down because we've not gone out? Because these kids nowadays, see,
Mhm.
during our times, it was very easy for us to go out and play. We
Yeah.
were very good at indoor and outdoor games. Now,
Absolutely.
though I have inculcated a lot of two things. One is speaking in a mother tongue from the time he's born, and second is a lot of indoor games which he can play inside.
Yeah.
Yet, because already the lockdown has created some kind of an environment where they don't want to go out. He has that fear sometimes that uh, there is no need to go out, so let's be safe inside.
Yeah.
So that entire culture of I'm okay inside and playing inside, and I'm still talking with my friends, I'm still conversing, I can still play something which is on a gadget or something sometimes. I'm still doing my work. So why do I need to go out? But I think I give credit to my family
Mhm.
as a whole, that we make it a point, both of us, either to sometimes have rays of the sun, sometimes sitting on the balcony, sometimes going for a walk or a jog, sometimes spending that time together, even for going down for a grocery together,
Yeah.
or sometimes he goes, and it's all about striking some conversation which we are not really liking on, or
Correct.
something which he needs to know, because we don't have television where we have Rama and Mahabharata and everything which is going on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
It is on, but kids don't want to see it for sure. We want to see it. Okay. Secondly, there is no imbibing of culture or value or morals or
Yeah.
ethics. So they don't even know the meaning of ETHICS. Forget about, they don't even know that as a word. मतलब स्कूल में सीख लेते हैं,
Yeah.
लेकिन उसका मीनिंग क्या है पता नहीं चलता है.
Hmm.
Correct. So we have not even created this kind of system. So I've always been thinking, what if Sandhya's child and my child, both of them, they get to learn from each other, and I teach him something and somebody else teaches something. So we have another boy nearby. So
Uh-huh.
he comes here to read all the newspaper elements, and this guy goes there to to go and learn some other part of
Oh,
either a subject. So
wow.
that way, the lady
Uh-huh.
is equipping him in something which is keeping him busy, because he doesn't want to
Absolutely.
learn from me. And
Yeah.
since I am good at those newspaper elements and making them read with pronunciation, which is a simple thing which we can do.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
we've started that since lockdown. So the boys get to meet each other. They both are very tiny and the same age.
Uh,
And वो एक चीज अच्छी हो जाती है कि there is some
there
conversation
is some
going on.
conversation that happens.
And if you can quietly peekaboo into that, it will be very interesting. They will be talking everything about teachers and principals and my system, and मेरा school अच्छा नहीं है, क्यों अच्छा नहीं है, what is the thing which needs to be changing. Maybe Zoom में teacher ऐसे कर सकती है, वैसे कर. So why I'm telling you that is that they are quite intelligent what they want.
Hmm. Correct. You're right.
आज के बच्चे आपको बता देंगे कि सिस्टम में क्या एरर है.
Hmm.
आप बड़ों को भूल जाओ, because people elders sometimes they don't bring the subtle elements what is missing in education, but the children
Correct.
bring out so beautifully, and they'll tell you that if ma'am would have done it this way, it would have been so easy for us to understand.
Absolutely.
So sometimes those conversations are also wonderful.
Huh. And
ऐसे तो बहुत
interesting.
सारे हैं.
No, but interesting. I love the way you actually said about newspaper and then also getting the other child to come and have conversations with each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
That's one way for us to actually know what conversations they have between us. I
true.
also have conversations where there is a standard statement that I keep getting कि कुछ secrets मेरे भी होते हैं. I said, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And positively, one thing good is, Sandhya, that sometimes the kid doesn't want to share something to you, might share to his friend. And if
correct.
he's there in some other house or some other ecosystem or even online, then
Uh,
sometimes that mother actually comes back and says, do you know that these kids are thinking this way? And, can we do something about it? So I have got a very good group of moms who are there in his school, some
yeah.
of them who are really bonded, and they share that, why don't we do this? And I tell them why they're really busy playing over this for a long time. Can we do something about it? So, we moms think in very creative ways, and it's not only about me, it's about all these moms. So
Correct.
I mean, if you are one of them and we are like this, I'm sure we get to think so much apart from doing what we usually do.
Correct. Absolutely. And
और
I
बहुत
think
मजा
that's
आता
a
है.
great idea. No, absolutely. And I love that. It's a great idea to actually bond with, kids bonding with each other because that's the kind of social learning that they're missing right now.
Right.
So it's a good way that they can communicate. Brilliant, brilliant. Great conversation. I was not able to see the chats then. Now I am able to see. So I
Yeah, you
see
can take
Rahul's
them.
comments. Yeah. I see Rahul has written, wow, both my favorite friends together. Nazneen has written, hi, both of you. Hi, Nazneen. Thank you so much for joining in. I am not able to see the live comments for some reason. Rena, if you can see, just let me know because for some reason this page has got stuck. So I'm not able to see the live comments now if there is any. Are you
Okay.
able to see?
Yeah.
I
So hi both of you.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's the comment that we have. Great.
yeah.
Brilliant. So let's come back to your professional and you say your profession, and you had spoken about being a breakthrough coach. So I am also interested in understanding. So who is your mentor, and who do you look up to? Is there somebody you look up to and you kind of follow that person?
So I follow multiple people, but I want to give a lot of gratitude to all the mentors in my life today. The most prominent of it is Mr. Rahul also. He's also been a very useful guiding star. At the same time, it's my husband and all the extended people who have ever and every time come into my life, either in the positive and negative ways, because everything gives you a learning.
Yeah.
Okay. And even tomorrow, if there's one learning I can have from your session, I think then somewhere you become an element of learning. And
Yeah.
eventually, when you get a lot of learnings and a lot of creative elements from it, sometimes you feel that this is something you really urged for. And it
Yeah.
never ends because you go back to it again and again and again. And that's how you
Absolutely.
get your coach or your mentor. Or
Yeah.
if somebody can create that move,
Hmm.
okay, people tell, why do you call yourself a breakthrough coach? And they used to keep asking me this very often.
Hmm.
And I said, I believe in calling myself a breakthrough coach because breakthrough is not amazingly something big, though it sounds really big. And
Yeah.
sometimes breakthrough for people was that, if you walk on fire, or if you can break a cord, or if you can do some amazing things which you've never done in your life.
Yeah.
But let's understand it with a little sublimity and little essence of life, which I say one drop of miracles can actually create magic.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if you can make that one smile on a person who's traumatized,
Hmm.
if you can actually change somebody from not speaking for 25 days, undergone that abuse and harassment, and then make him speak, if
Hmm.
you can create that change of that one person who's undergone that sexual assault and make him
Yeah.
and change creator or a enabler,
Yeah.
that's what is all about breakthroughs. I mean, it's not about bigger things every time, it's all about
I
the
know.
small moments.
I think it is also the way Breakthrough Coach was actually communicated to the world. In fact, there are many platforms where I've mentioned this, and
Yeah,
nothing offends the whole industry, but the point that coaching industry was suddenly portrayed as a luxury lifestyle. I am able to cruise here and I'm able to do a coaching session. I am here in a lifestyle working 30 minutes and I'm still earning a six-figure income. Suddenly that dynamics of communication changed about what a coaching industry is, and I think that is where it took away the essence of a coach. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कृष्ण जी ने भी जब गीता का अर्जुन को बताया था तो वो भी एक कोच की तरह ही बताया, तो उन्होंने ये नहीं बोला था कि क्या करना है, उन्होंने सिर्फ गाइड किया था, and that's exactly what we all as a coach do. But suddenly in the last couple of years, that whole communication on social media about a coach has turned to a six-figure income or a 10x productivity growth, and they've suddenly made it too massive. But that's not what a coach does. Like you said, breakthrough is about, if they were already working on a path and they have
do a live on
slightly
Facebook.
missed the door left and right, is there a way a coach can show the door here and there?
Right.
You're walking straight and maybe left and right, maybe एक door है वो दिखा नहीं. So is there something that I can give you a perspective and say? And in fact, a couple of times, in fact, our friends come in as a coach in our life, right?
Yeah.
It's not about somebody just a certified coach coming in your life and doing that. So I think that's the communication that's happened on social media that went wrong about mindset coaching or about even breakthrough coaching. And I'm glad you brought that point. So I also wanted to understand, Rena, you work with mostly with Posh, and I'm sure you're part of a lot of NGOs. You have won a lot of awards. I had a whole list of awards that you've actually won. So congratulations for all that. You've done tremendous work on in that field. What is one thing that you would want to tell people about, Posh, or what is one message for women that you would want to talk about or say specifically?
So, right. I'll just reiterate the tagline of the company.
Uh huh.
We essentially have created the company and the logo and the transformation with a lot of thought process, which
Yeah.
believes that if you have to bring in the beauty within yourself, if you have to be a person who has to be touching lives and spreading miracles and magic,
Yeah.
you need to rise. And if
Uh,
you want to be your own productive, or you want to bring out the better person of you, the better
yeah.
version of you,
Uh,
be somebody who can go and enable others, I'm sure you can. It's just that you need to come out of this shell of whatever you are emerging. So we
yeah.
believe that every person has the right to rise. And if
Yes.
you have the right to rise, you need to take that one step ahead.
Correct.
When essentially we're talking about posh and pox, so it's all about how we can create space for them to grow. It could be victims, it could be something to do with harassment and assault. But if I have to say one message to everybody, uh, believe in what value you want to create in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, I see a lot of people doing a lot of work, and essentially people who are value contributors, even if they are spending time in developing quality, the quality goes a long way. But essentially, if you're there and if you're doing something which is just going to be beneficial on a win-win situation, saying so and then just about lose-win or win-lose, it
Yeah.
doesn't work. Sometimes a loose win works, is what I learned from somebody. And it's all about how you add value in your life and others. Is
Correct. I
this
think it's also about the priority that you're giving when it's lose win. Is that a relationship which is at stake and you want to do a lose win? It depends on what is at stake at that point of time.
exactly? It's also about nurturing the relationship. So
Correct. Yes.
um, why do you really think people would really want to go a long way when you can't basically give them the value?
Yeah.
And so we are building that kind of an ecosystem, and we feel that we need to go a long way. And yes, beautifully, I think we need to be away from all the depression of COVID. So we try and make some kind of an ecosystem where all the good like-minded people are doing the work together.
Yeah.
And yes, that's about what we wanted to talk. So one message to the world, or to everybody who's wanting to become a posh enabler, is that if you really want to make that change, if you really want to go and reach out, if you really want to um, do something good, then probably yes, come to Right to Rise. And everybody has a certain way of what they want to reach to. I
Yeah.
just see every so Posh is about women, we already know,
Hmm.
but here it's not about women that we are talking. Here it's about equality, gender sensitization of all genders.
Yeah.
So ideally, I feel that the vulnerable gender today is also the male.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about women or women empowerment all the time. It's also about how do you convey thoughts, or even get to what the genders are talking to each other,
Yeah.
because most of the time we are only in the fear zone of what each of them think, and we don't communicate.
Yeah.
So that fear zone, or that breaking barriers, should be done.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the break wall ceiling will be very close to us, and we'll be able to emerge out beautifully, like those warm butterflies or those warm pigeons, out of this agony world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think world will look greener and grass will look greener on that side also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rena, what is one thing that people would not know about Rena? So, there's something that if I Google about Rena, I'll not get to know. What is one thing that Google does not talk about Rena?
Yeah, I don't know what Google doesn't talk about Rena, but uh, so Rena has a lot of stories. I don't think everybody knows all the stories. I think all the stories are under amazing covers. Maybe you get to know Rena as a friend soon, then you'll know a lot about Rena. But yes, Rena likes to paint. Rena likes to
Wow.
dance. Rena does used to do Zumba, now that it's closed.
Ah.
And Rena does doodling. Well, Rena also started something on something similar to a podcast, but it was only for singing casual songs. Okay, I
What
don't
are you?
remember. There was
I also have a podcast, and it has also got a sing and story. So I think we should collaborate and do
yeah,
some.
it was something just to sing casual songs and bring out the talent in it. I started quite some time back, because podcast is also about having some fun element in your life. So
Yeah.
it was not always about giving the food for thought in terms of transformation. But
Yes.
I just wanted casual elements. So that's a lot of things. I think I like to do a lot of things.
Wow, podcast is interesting. So I didn't know that
Yes.
you sing, you paint, you doodle,
Yeah.
and so what kind of dances do you love doing, or is that just like any beat and you love doing that? Because I love dancing, and that's one of my stress
You
busters.
you
So
have to, you're testing a Punjabi Sindhi who's very good in
I
dancing.
know I shouldn't be, right?
Yeah, so ideally you need to come on a party or a wedding and you'll see.
I am
And
sure.
yes, but yes, I do have a great dancer in me. Of course, someday we'll have a get together where all friends meet and we'll surely find out that element of naughtiness there. But yes, yeah. So I mean, that's what I said. We all have different shades in us, and if we need to go a long way, we need to have a balance of these elements. So
Yeah,
we will be having a spiritual person, we will be having a fun person, we will be having a child in us. Allow that child to be just like that.
yeah,
Because sometimes you have to even become stupid in front of your kids. They like it. Oh, mama doesn't know anything. And that brings in so much confidence in them
yes,
and self esteem that, I've grown like a beautiful person. And it's all about the little moments you can enjoy, because
yeah,
sometimes you've not seen your own childhood, I'm sure. Okay,
yeah.
you and we did not have cameras to shoot us when we were acting on these crazy elements.
I think only that I had was conversations and stories. So if I go back to my sibling or my cousins, we only have stories and loads of stories to talk about what we did in childhood and not
So
photographs.
true,
Yeah,
so true. So
yeah,
I relive sometimes those elements, and sometimes when I'm too much in front of work, so then those things come back. Then I have to spend. The other thing, what is important is, never forget about all the people who have touched your life in some way.
yeah. Very
Okay, no
important.
matter is your mentor or your family or your friends. So I think I follow that one thing.
Hmm.
And I thank everybody who has been in my life so far, because essentially, if I've got all those awards, accolades, the reach, people's love, people's affection, today it's not about a rat race. It's about how much you have achieved in this time and how much people really look up to you. And
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate there that I don't look at people who don't or not. I look at people who are still alongside and still bless me
yeah.
with those little smiles. So
Correct.
that's good enough.
Yeah,
I think
correct. And I
that's a
can
big
so
achievement.
relate to it. Yeah, I can so relate to it because I have my own initiative called Yana, and that was
Yeah,
conceptualized only because of my sudden change from Delhi to Bombay, and a lot of people who know me know that I went through a lot when I moved to Bombay. So I created that platform. You are not alone anymore, just for that purpose. And of course, I gratitude has been my way of life and lifestyle, but after starting gratitude as a program, Rena, I reached out to 1,500 to 2,000 people across India on that gratitude WhatsApp free groups. I can't tell you the amount of happiness that brings in once we complete that 28 days of gratitude. So I can so resonate with what you're saying. Gratitude comes a long way if you actually can practice that in life. That's so beautiful. And thankfully, I've been able to pass it on to my kid as well to have gratitude.
awesome.
That's something that is
Beautiful. That's great, Sandhya. Proud of you. Yeah.
brilliant. So let's run. I think it's 7:40. Let's start the rapid fire round if you're
Oh
ready
my
for it.
God. We have a rapid fire. We are on this coffee with Karan. So today we are
Coffee
with
with Karan.
coffee with
Yeah, I
Sandy.
don't even have a coffee today to actually do cheers with you
That's okay. Cheers. We can
then.
cheers with our thumbs. That's
Okay,
cool.
brilliant. So let
Yeah.
me ask you. So you'll have to tell me the name of the person or an object that comes to your mind when I say these words. So maybe a word association. Okay.
Okay.
The color blue.
The deep blue sea.
Okay. Rains. Mumbai rains.
Oh, it's fun to run out and get wet.
Trains.
Staring faces where I make funny faces and make them laugh.
Okay. Window.
Window. Oh, beautiful breeze blowing into your face.
Wow, that's Rena that I can see now.
Yeah.
Music.
Music. Dancing.
Brilliant. The second round. So the second round is you'll have to tell me the name of people you can think of the moment I say these beverages, because it's sip and conversation. Let's see what comes to your mind or who comes to your mind. So black tea.
Boring people.
Okay, coffee.
Interesting conversations.
Okay, and what's your favorite coffee spot? And I'll come back to the rapid fire. Like
So
Starbucks, Costa, which one?
yeah, I think Costa is better. Though Costa is little pricey. I don't know. I go with the taste of it. But I like so I still know that in my family there are two men who make lovely cold coffees,
Wow,
and I just love them because every night when we are watching a Netflix or a series, we are ardent watchers of all the series and English movies and some kind of a Netflix before
same
we
here.
sleep, or maybe a comedy series or
Same here.
comedy
Yeah.
something. So ideally, a coffee that time is brilliant, especially a cold coffee. I'm good at hot coffee and teas, but cold coffees, both we have men in our family who are very good at it, and they really beat it with that fluff and that cream and bring it up for me. And I
My
love
God, my
cold
mouth
coffee.
is already watching, and so I think today my Big Bang Theory starts with a cold coffee. Then.
Good, good. Cheers. Cheers to you.
Now that Nescafe is available, I didn't have Nescafe for a very long
No,
time.
any coffee is good. Yeah, it all depends on the mood, and it's not about a label, but yes,
So I think
some
that's the only
coffees
South
are
Indian
good.
tinge that I have. I think that's the only one.
Hooray!
So I love filter coffees.
Narsu
I
coffee.
yeah.
Narsu coffee. I love it.
And
Pesh,
I do
pesh.
yes.
You don't
Okay.
know I'm born and brought up in Chennai, so I know quite a lot of
Ah,
Tamil.
I am sure. No wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so we said coffee and we said black. Okay, black coffee.
Mm, okay, maybe an interesting businessman.
Hmm. Have you met anybody who loves black coffee?
Loads
I
of them. I think
yeah.
most of the conversations I have on a business table, most of them either want a black coffee or a black tea.
Oh, boring
And
people. Get the right
I'm not
one.
somebody who drinks too much of black because
Uh,
I'm somebody who likes a tasty drink rather than having anything general. Yeah.
yeah. And so what about green tea?
If you want to stay up early or stay up late night,
Really?
yeah, you can sleep with that. Yeah, but green teas, I can think of my sister. She loves it. Yeah.
Yeah. Masala tea. अपना typical masala tea.
Me and my hubby and
Ah,
the rains.
you're a chai lover? Oh my God.
Yes, we both are chai lovers.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I thank you so much for that rapid fire round.
Yeah.
And so let me ask one last question. I think it's 7:45. We'll wrap up and let's see if there are questions. Rena, if you can see questions, do let me know. So
So I
some
have shared it on some. I'm not able to see because then we'll be able to hear the echo.
uh,
But
I am actually going to my screen and checking if I can. Otherwise, we will.
yeah, we can take them either later also. That's totally cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just seeing if there is live. Otherwise, we can. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. Whoever was live with us and whoever is live with us right now, we have Raina Khatri and we are on the Ask Sandy show. Anything that you want to know more about communication, there is an exclusive group that I have created where we talk about everything about communication, not only English and public speaking, everything. You want to bring in conversations, you want to share videos on conversations, you want to share anything on body language, I'm super happy for you to share that. So please join in that group where we only discuss about communications. Of course, like most of the groups, it's a group open for promotion, but I would love to have insights from people who have been in the field of communication. So please go ahead and add on yourself on that group. And the Ask Sandy show, if somebody is willing to feature themselves, please do reach out to me. I would love to have candid conversations. If can have conversations with you. The whole idea is to actually unwind because we have had too much of webinars, too structured. Let's just unwind ourselves for some time and set the platform for more candid and open conversation. So, Rena, thank you so much for joining
Thank
in.
you so much, Sandy. So
Please,
ask Sandy and have some fun with her, guys. Come for the next coffee and you shall rock with her. I just
I know.
really loved it, girl, and you were really amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
think I've had a lovely conversation after a very long time, and bless you for
Thank,
all the wonderful work you're doing.
thank you.
Stay
Thank
stay
you.
blessed and keep rocking.
Thank you. Thank you. Best of luck to you also for the brilliant work that you're doing, because there are very few who actually stand up and, allow that space for right to rise. And I'm so happy that I'm connected with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Bye,
so
everyone
much.
who is on online. Thank you. See you tomorrow again at 7 p.m. But the surprise is we don't know who's there on the guest show. So let's see tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great day and great night. Thank you. Bye.